Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. We have a list of 8 properties today, and we're going to start off with this one here on Farmstead number 101. And I think that they had this for sale before with Remax, and now they're doing it on their own for sale by owner, listed on MLS. So that's called a mirror posting, and it means that you're hiring technically a real estate company, which is My Move Realty, to basically just put it on MLS, but you're responsible for showings, negotiation, paperwork, all the rest of it. So it eliminates any agency duties, and that's fine. And I think a lot of people in our industry are kind of like, oh, why would they do that? Or they try and convince someone that they're wrong by doing it themselves. Hey, if you can do it, great. My experience is people want to save the listing fee. They're still willing to offer. Typically what's offered to a buyer agent who's working with a buyer is 2.5% of the sale price of the home, paid for usually on the listing side to that agent. The buyers don't usually reach in their pocket for that amount. So it's very interesting when I look at something like this, because there are better and worse companies, in my opinion, to actually showcase on the realtor site. On MLS.ca, there's a link. They always put a link, and they say, just like this one here, click on the realtor website link, and it takes you to a page. You have to put in a code, this and that. But the best ones from being plugged into the realtor database, from my experience, is the Comfree guys, because they actually put all the photos. There's no link there. They actually just kind of say, here it is, and whether or not, the other thing is in the comments for our section, is whether or not the owner is willing to compensate an agent. And I think at the end of the day, it's just a matter of saying the seller wants to walk away with a certain amount, the buyer wants to pay a certain amount, and in between, if there's a realtor involved, that they get treated fairly too. So it's really not that complicated, but basically my point is that I think that there's better and worse companies, and for what they do, Comfree, for putting it on MLS as is, they take pretty good photos, better than a lot of agents. It's not such a bad thing. Okay, I think that we as our team and what we do certainly offers advantages to the do-it-yourself route, but I don't blame or give anyone a hard time for trying to do it on their own. And we try and support whenever possible when they choose to do that. So Bustle Crescent is $429,900. So what's interesting about this one, I'll go back to the first shot, is that you probably saw this one no less than 5 days ago listed $442,000, and at that time I said, well, it seems a little bit high, but they had an offer fast, and then the offer I think fell apart, and then all of a sudden we're seeing it relisted now at $429,900. So not sure what they have in mind. It is the Charlton model. If you remember, we did our little dance on Daily Homes. We always like to do the Charlton dance when the Charlton model comes. So 1715 square feet of total space. If you remember, we talked about the double fruit power of the lemons and the apples, the whole green-yellow combination. And it looks nice inside. It looks like it's very well kept. Haven't seen it in person. That's usually a builder's finished basement, and then you have some green space behind. So there we are. So I have a feeling they'll get interest at the $429,000. That's a good price for that home. Livingston is $448,500, 1,900 square feet, and for some reason the word boasts is in this description, boasting 1,900 square feet. There's another one further in the list, Boast. I don't know if boast is the word that should ever be in a real estate listing. It's all personal opinion. I put it on Facebook one time, and it's funny because some agent says, hey, what are you talking about? We love that word. We use it all the time. But boasting, if you actually look it up, is, I don't think, appropriate for talking about a property. An inanimate object, I don't think, is capable of boasting anything. So anyway, it's semantics, but this one it's kind of cut up. Most of the time you see the kitchen family room in the back of the house, and they have the dining or whatever else in the front. This one has the middle of the house is this strip of ceramic with the table and the kitchen, and then you have the family room, and then you've got also a little bit of an area for a dining room here. So I find this one would make a lot more sense if it was just one kind of flooring throughout. If you had some kind of flow there, but that breakup with the ceramic tiles to me really messes the flow. That gives you a bit of a better shot there of how everything lays out. So you've got potentially like a little bit of an office space here, plus you've got dining room or living room. This could be dining. But then if it's dining, you go, okay, well now you've got a kitchen table plus a dining. So do you put a chair there? Is it a sitting? So it can be a tough layout unless you really have a vision for what you want to do. And there's also what looks like a play space up here, which potentially could have been the 4th bedroom at some point, because it's only a 3-bedroom, but at 1,900 square feet, typically you've got enough space for a 4. Anyway, the size of this home at 1,900 square feet, that's a jacuzzi tub. Most of them are just soaker tubs. For the size of this one, the lot, the location, I think $448,500 is the right price for it. Just a question of whether or not the layout works. To replace floor, let's say you ripped all that floor out, put some hardwood floors in. You're looking at, I usually say to clients about $5 a square foot plus maybe $1.50 to $2 to install. So maybe $7 a square foot. Do the measurements on that space. I'm guessing on the main floor you're probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 or 700 square feet. So let's say $5,000 could get you a whole new set of flooring there. So Wilson Drive is $454,900. They're holding off on offers until Monday. It's a corner property. So you kind of have a side yard versus a backyard. Potentially this could even be a space, if you reconfigured it, where you could have a boat or you could have some kind of a little trailer. If you happen to work in that kind of industry where you need maybe a small little accessory trailer there too. So original cupboards, but they've replaced the counters and they put a backsplash in. So I mean, for the cost of putting the cupboards in, it's probably a good idea, you know, if you're going to invest, because now you're going to have to rip the counters off and you're going to have to make a mess of it just to try and get access to the cabinets. Overall though, this one should sell at this price, possibly even for more than asking. They put it at a good aggressive price, and then they've kind of said, okay, look, we're going to take offers on Monday there. So next one up is Donnelly, $529,000. So it backs onto James Snow. What looks like James Snow from what I can tell. It is a Lindsay model, 1,800 square feet. Nice finishes inside. I like the dormer effects in the room. They've done a good job here by putting a little bench seat. You could put a desk there, a little reading area. It comes in very handy. And there's the other one on the other side. So overall, there's a shot there. You can see the power lines, the road behind. There's a pretty tall fence behind this one. And yeah, so you can see there's a what looks like a walkout, but it doesn't really mention that in the description. If it is truly a walkout, then I think that has typically it adds some value to the house. We've seen the same home as this sell with a finished basement, but not as nice of a main floor recently, with a bit of a bigger yard for $520,000. So maybe a little bit on the high side, but it's still a nice looking home. Combs is $749,000, 3,200 square feet. It's one of my favorite homes. It's called a Wild Rose by Madame. You can look up the floor plans. Lots of nice finishes in the kitchen here. And you've got your upgraded counters, your glass shower in the master, and you got a pretty standard 42 by 88 foot lot. Although that looks even wider than 42. Sometimes it's just the camera lens. So good, all brick, nice, mostly all brick. There's a little bit of siding up here, and Combs is a nice street too. So McGlaughlin, $799,000, 3,100 square feet, backing onto green space. And a pretty open layout here too. I like how the front entrance kind of opens up high. Then you walk upstairs to the side here. So everything is just, I hope that there's a window just off to the side here. But lots of windows across the back, crown moldings, pot lights. Just a well done home. There you go. Good sized yard, 101 feet deep, which is probably, some areas of Old Milton are that big. I like it. And then Cusick is, I believe it's a Tothberg model, 3,300 square feet, plus a finished basement, so you're probably close to 5,000 square feet of space. It's on what I believe is like a pie-shaped lot. This was listed last year, a little bit lower, but obviously market appreciation. They had the Wolf appliances, so they had the larger cutout in the kitchen for the stove. It was quite a nice looking home. There might even still be a footprint if you type in the address on Google. Maybe you'll find some of the old tours. I didn't check before I filmed this, but look good. I think that it compares pretty well with what else is in the kind of 850 range, and let's see what happens with it. But that kitchen, being able to customize and think through while you're in the process of building it to say, hey, you know what, I want a big stove. To do that in most homes right now is a real pain in the butt. So that's the list for today. If you have any questions, give us a call, and we're running tours 7 days a week. You can also meet us at Starbucks, or you can come to the next buyer class on September 20th on Saturday in the afternoon, and I know you're really going to love it. So links are all over there, and we'll see you tomorrow.